Rev up your engines!
Well, a Honda dealer is asking a ridiculous 42 grand for a 2022 Civic Si, and yes, of course, it's in California. Now, the list price is supposed to be $27,300, so they've marked it up 1.5 times. This is greed. Of course, it's in California, the land of greed. To mark them up that much higher, it just shows they don't care about their clientele. They only care about ripping people off and making as much money as they possibly can. Now, this stuff is going to come and bite them in the rear end when people come back down to earth and say, gee, remember that dealership? They asked all that extra money 1.5 times the original list price just because there's a shortage of cars. Don't deal with them. You see these things? Put it out there on the internet. Mention the names. Look at these rip-off dealerships. Stay away from them. Teach them a lesson. Shame them. That's the advantage of the internet. You can shame people all the time when they're screwing people over. Everybody can tell everybody about it. They get a bad reputation. It's very hard to get rid of a bad reputation. And if they're charging 1.5 times the list price for a Honda Civic Si, they deserve to be shamed. So, everybody out there, you find this stuff. Shame them. Send it to me. Names, everything. I don't care. I want people to know who's ripping people off and who isn't ripping people off. Unfortunately, there's an awful lot of people ripping people off, so hey, that's what I'm here for. Try to show people how not to get ripped off. I'm doing a video soon about rip-off products. Brilliant idea, right? A backup camera surveillance thing that says it can go 150 feet, so you can put it on the back of a trailer, back of a truck, on your phone, you know, you can look at it and all that stuff. This thing was over $200. I couldn't even get it to operate. It was one of those Chinese ones, right? I scanned the QR code and it says, not an operational QR code. This is what the company sent me, right? The software doesn't even operate. I mean, it had Android software on it. It even said here for Android, I put it on, and it was over $200. So, I'm here to help. Here's a list of some of the hottest electric cars that are supposed to be coming out this year. The Ford F-150 Lightning, that's a big one. Ford with an electric pickup truck. People are waiting for that one to see what's going to happen. And of course, the Tesla Cybertruck, which he keeps promising and promising. He's promising 2022 it's going to be out. Who knows if it is? Who knows what it's going to look like? It certainly can't look exactly like his insane alien idea in the first place, because it'd be illegal to have all those pointy things. You could spear pedestrians with them. So we'll see if he actually makes them and if people actually buy them. Now, Rivian's coming out with the R1S electric SUV. It looks like a giant station wagon, I gotta say. Now, I realize it's going to be an expensive one. Those are going to start at 70 grand. You know, they're all trying to get into the luxury segment. They're all thinking greed. Yeah, well, how many people are actually going to buy these things? That's all I got to say. The Lucid is coming out with the Air Pure. You know, they came out with their first Lucid September of 2021. Of course, that one started at 169 grand, so it's up in the stratosphere, while the Air Pure one, suppose you're going to start at only $77,000. I think I'll buy 3 or 4 of them. What the heck? Then there's the Fisker. Now, they want to make affordable SUVs. They say this is going to start at $37,500. Long way from $77,000. Maybe not a bad idea. It's called the Ocean SUV, and they say it's going to be the 4th quarter of 2022, so who knows if that's going to come out yet. They're pushing it as far as they can. Then there's the Lifestyle vehicle electric minivan from Canoe. It kind of looks like a Volkswagen microbus, but it's electric. Kind of an interesting idea, you know. Again, they say it's going to be late 2022, so we'll see if the Canoe makes it into the water of electric cars and starts floating. Then there's the BMW iX or 9. It starts at $83,000. Being a BMW, it's going to be expensive, you know that. They claim it's going to come out March 2022. We'll find out soon. And of course, there's the Cadillac Lyriq. GM's pushing all the money into their electric Cadillac, and they say it's going to start at $59,000. We'll see what happens as it comes out, if it comes out. Then there's a Hyundai. Its starting price is $39,700, so it's going for a lower end. And they say it's going to have a sliding interior. You can move the things around inside. Then there's the Nissan Ariya. They're venturing into a classy SUV. Crossover starting at 46 grand. Then there's the Kia EV6. Starts at 56 grand. They're trying to go for a classy SUV. And it's going to be a higher 800 volt system that they can say they can go from 10 to 80% in just 15 minutes recharge. These are all things people claim. We'll see what happens as 2022 pans out with new piles of electric vehicles. Now, here's something you might be wondering about. Why do electric cars still use 12 volt batteries? Little 12 volt backup batteries, right? Toyota a Prius. It's not a fully electric car. It's a hybrid car. It's got a little bitty 12-volt battery. It turns out that a lot of the systems, they don't want to mess with turning a higher voltage into lower voltage. So let's say the big battery's 440 volts or whatever. Well, realize all your computer systems work on a 5-volt reference system. And of course, it's a lot easier to use a 12-volt battery and step it down to 5 volts than it is a 440-volt battery. So they're still using a bunch of the lead-acid 12-volt batteries in these cars. The lower power things like the door locks and things like that, you want to have a backup so if something goes wrong, you can get out of your car. Kind of a safety feature there. If the main battery system goes kaput and you're stuck in your car and you can't get out, a lot of these electric cars have deals that if they get in a wreck, it turns off the power system of the large battery, right? Well, that'd be kind of bad if it turned it all off. You can't get out of the car, especially if it starts on fire. Lithium batteries burn like mad. So they're still leaving 12-volt batteries as backup batteries in the cars. And of course, realize another of the legacy of using the 12-volt batteries is everybody knows how you can jumpstart them. If the battery goes bad, you can jump start it and get them going, right? You can't jump start a 440-volt battery. It doesn't work that way. Because I've had people with Priuses that wouldn't start because the 12-volt battery is drained. I jumped it, I started it up. Even though they're getting to this high-tech, high-voltage electricity, they're still dependent on those stupid lead-acid 12-volt batteries. They're still relying on old 12-volt lead-acid batteries in those same cars. They still got a long way to go, if you ask me, before they're going to perfect these battery-driven electric cars. Beer Snob says, why don't they make cars with stored dash cam video from all those built-in cameras in the cars with the ability to store and retrieve the images in case of an accident like the aftermarket dash cam? Seems crazy. They got all those cameras and they don't use them. I'm assuming it's because of liability. Proudly said, we got this all stored in case you get in a wreck, and then it doesn't work. Then they'd be liable because somebody's suing you or you're suing somebody and the data's not there. Now, it's so easy to buy these aftermarket cam things and stick them up. You do that if you're worried. You saw those Russian car crashes. The Russians obviously do it all the time, and it's a good idea. Now, I believe that some states they're illegal, like in California, it's not admissible evidence because you're spying on people's privacy. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, what a load of crap. If you're driving on a public road, you're in a public realm, and if you do something wrong, you should be able to be filmed to say, hey, look at this idiot. He pulled in front of him and ran into him. I think it's total nonsense that people think they should have privacy on the road. Hey, they're driving on the road. Everyone's lives are at risk. What a load of nonsense. If you're on the road driving, you should have no privacy because you might do something bad and everybody wants to know about it, and your high-priced lawyers won't be able to get you out of it if there's a camera showing that you ran into the people. So, probably the main reason the manufacturers don't do it, and they don't want to get involved in a legal suit, so they'll just let you buy your own, stick it in there. And my advice is do it because they are very handy. Plus, you might get some cool videos that you can make some cool YouTube stuff out if you drive down the road and you pick up something really cool. I wish I would have had one when I drove from Rhode Island back to Tennessee here because we were going through a small town of Pennsylvania, 20 miles an hour, and all of a sudden this guy blew up by me going 100, and then a minute later a cop was coming chasing him. I wish I would have had that on a dash cam. Would have made a good video. Yankees once said, I got 2015 Jeep Renegade. It needs a new engine. Where can I buy a 2.4 low mileage engine for a 2015 Jeep Renegade? Well, unfortunately, your only choice is junkyards. And they're not the most honest people in the world. Back when I was in Houston, I was doing a CBS TV show, Crank It Up with Scotty, and I was filming in a junkyard. When I was done filming, the camera guy left, said, look, I'm not filming this, but I noticed you got a lot of low mileage engines in the front here, 65,000 miles, 45,000 miles. I said, well, that's kind of interesting. And the guy says, no, you're not going to talk about this on TV. I said, no. Scotty, all those motors have 150, 240 on them. But the guy across the street does the same thing. He says his are low mileage. So if I say I got 240 and he says he's got 50, he'll sell his engines and I won't sell mine. So you can't believe what the guys are telling you. The only way you could do it is if you knew somebody and you went to a junkyard where it just got some fresh Jeeps in and the engines were still in the vehicles and you could see the mileage was actually low. Because the first thing they do in a junkyard when they got an engine that they know is popular like a Jeep, they jerk it out and they put it inside under the tin roof on a shelf. Then they can just paint some fake mileage on it. Nobody will know how many miles it actually has on it. That's the problem. You can't trust them. And unless you see the car with it sitting in there, I know guys that buy engines all the time. And that's what they do. Is you got any new cars in the junkyard? And they'll say, yeah. And they'll go and they'll look at them while they're still in the car. And if the cars are wrecked, you can start a car with even a cooling system not hooked up for a few seconds, 30, 40 seconds. So they want to start them them listen to them, see if they sound good, and they can see the actual mileage that's on the real odometer. So that's about the only way you can possibly do it without just taking an absolute gamble with people that tend to lie about the mileage on the stuff they're selling. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.